Coming up, 24 hours removed from the miracle at the wall, Ryan and I are going to talk about our lingering takes from Game 4. What do the Nuggets need going into Game 5? Plus a look around the Western Conference. All that and more on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being with us, being an everydayer, hanging out with us Monday through Friday, as well as on the weekends. Welcome to Sunday night's episode featuring me, Matt Moore, Ryan Blackburn from Mile High Sports. We call the show No Jinx because we never, ever jinx anyone, especially not the Denver Nuggets. On today's show, we will talk about the other Western Conference playoff matchups and Ryan's thoughts across the very interesting Western Conference playoffs and how the bracket is shaping up. We'll talk about MPJ and Russ and whether they're going to be available for Game 5. We're going to talk about Jamal Murray and his spot. We'll talk all about that and more on today's show. Make sure you go to youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets and become a subscriber. We are, oh boy, it is close to that 10K that we've been begging for. 28 is the number now. We are at 28 away subscribers from hitting 10,000 for the season, which was our goal. We appreciate each and every one of you that have hopped on board and joined us and all the great comments we've gotten lately. Lots of positive comments, which I've really appreciated. Today's show is brought to you, gotta pay the bills, by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more.
Before we get into anything, shout out to Kevin. We got an email. Our guy Nick Angstad sent us a link from an email that we got from Kevin. Just said that he really enjoyed our breakdown of Game 3, which insane, by the way. What a fan! What somebody that I think is just awesome to have around in that situation, that even when the sun's kind of real low around the team, Matt and I really do try our best in these situations to accurately give a pulse of where the team is at and try to give our accurate thoughts. And we do as much as we can to try to do things right. So thank you, Kevin, for the shout out. It was a nice email to read.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. That was awesome. Especially because the comments, one person literally said, "I can no longer tolerate listening to Matt Moore anymore," and I'm like,
nice to know that, like, hey, not everybody feels this way. We love it.
Just that comment was like #things my wife has said. So let's talk about Game 4 and the kind of lingering takes. I think a day removed. It's just hard. The playoffs are so hard with recency bias to not get caught up in it, because like I have pledged to quote unquote stay over on this side, like to stay over there.
You
I'm
don't
not
have to, by the way.
I know, but I think it's important from an integrity standpoint to be like, because what I always think is like, if Jamal cared at all what I thought, which he doesn't, Jamal would be like, don't come back over here. You thought we were going to lose. Stay over there. And I'm like, okay,
Fair.
That's understandable. So this little imaginary conversation I have in my head with Jamal Murray, who does not know my name, like that's where I get to. But it is hard, I think, not to have optimism for Denver, just because I have settled on this, and I really do I do believe this, and I'm not trying to just be a hater on the Clippers, just a hater, but I actually want good things for that franchise. It's just like you have Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon, and you have guys in that locker room that have been there and won a championship and know what it takes and play together and do still have a love for each other, even if it's been strained throughout the course of this season. Yeah. And they are together. And I have a hard time being I think that they've won 2 games because of their mental toughness. I think the Clippers are a better basketball team. And I think they are in an even series because they have the best player in the series and because they have more mental toughness. And that goes a long way in a series, because I wrote this over at the Dig. You don't have to be the better team. You just have to be the better team for 7 games. That's all you got to do. 4 times out of 7. That's all you got to do. So I am optimistic, more so than I was yesterday, about, you know what? I can be wrong, and the Nuggets can pull this off, and fans should feel like they can do this. These are seasons where it's hard. Those are the ones maybe where it's most worth. believing it.
Other thing from Andre here, like there is a very reasonable take that the Nuggets could be up 3-1 in this series, and I think that that's completely fair. Obviously, when you get into clutch situations, usually you expect those to go about 50-50. But for Denver, a team that's been in the clutch and been in these moments over and over and over with this same group, it's one of the reasons why you trust continuity in this situation, right? Like the Clippers, they do have vets. They do have guys that know how to play together, obviously, but they have a little bit less continuity than a team like the Nuggets do, which, like, unsurprisingly, when you have a team that's played together for the better part of 4.5 years, and Christian Brown, who's kind of grown up in the system as well. So there's a lot here, I think, to give Nuggets fans some optimism. The other thing is that they got 2 days off. 2 days off after what was 42 minutes plus for every single starter played. The Nuggets needed that rest. Michael Porter certainly needed that rest more than anybody on the Clippers did. Like I come away from this thinking that the Clippers, they don't look as fatigued, they don't look as tired as Denver does in this series, but it does kind of seem to me that if Denver could just hold on by the skin of their teeth a little bit, then they have an opportunity, of course, to hang in here. So they don't need to win games by 20. They don't need to win games by 30. They just need to win games by 1. And while it is stressful, like, it gives you some optimism that they know how to do that.
What were your kind of like lingering thoughts after game 4? What was like the thing that stuck out to you in the last 24 hours?
I going back and watching a bunch of different clips, Matt, it is crazy how often Michael Porter is using one arm. Just one. Like trying to figure out, like avoiding as often as possible to lift that left arm at all. And I screenshotted something and posted it on Twitter earlier tonight that, like, he even catching the basketball, even on a zip pass from Jokic, the ball is midway, like halfway to him, and he has yet to raise his left hand to catch the basketball. Usually you're supposed to do it with two. But that was a shot that he made, by the way. And so he's toughing things out, and the Nuggets need him so badly. They need everybody, all hands on deck in this situation. And the fact that he's been able to gut this out, like yesterday, I was all about giving Aaron Gordon his flowers. Jokic, of course, gets flowers every single night. Murray deserved a lot of criticism. Christian Brown, we credited. Michael Porter, we have to spend more time crediting, I think. Like, he hasn't been great overall in this series, but the fact that he's even out there is absurd. You're muted.
Okay, I'm good. I'm here. Well, so MPJ was huge in game 4, despite being so hurt. Stats for game 5 still up in the air. Don't know if he's going to play. Jamal Murray has not had a good game in a close game yet. He was good in game 3, but that was a wash in terms of how it happened. Coming up, I'm going to ask Ryan a difficult question about game 5. And if he only gets to have one nice thing, which nice thing does he want? We'll do that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. Basketball and hockey playoffs are here, and there's no better time to turn your sports knowledge into real cash with Prize Picks, the top destination for daily fantasy action. Prize Picks makes it simple. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even mix and match players across basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. How about another Landeskog goal? How about one of those? How about Aaron Gordon 3-pointer? More. How about those comboed together? You get Nikola Jokic for more than 25 points and Jaylen Brown for more than 4 assists in the next game. All that and more at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets, thanks for joining us. If you go to lockedondaily.com, you can get our free daily newsletter. Monday through Friday, you get original writing from me and Ryan. That is absolute discount. You get our thoughts, you get commentary, you get sometimes show highlights, all sorts of cool stuff. Make sure to check it out at lockedondaily.com. All right, Ryan. So I'm going to give you a choice. In 5, you can have a 30 points or more. I'm not going to put a cap on it. 30 points or more Jamal Murray game. Or you can have Russell Westbrook and Michael Porter Jr. back. Not fully healthy, but Porter can play, Russ can play in game 5. You only get one. Which do you want?
Okay, so I can't get Murray for 30 plus and one of those guys?
No.
So they'd both be out in that situation.
Yes, you get Murray, or you get those two. Those two can play.
Oh God. So you guys don't know how difficult this is for me personally, because like I have certain agendas that I'm trying to fulfill at this point. And like Murray, he's playoff Murray here. He's got to get going. Like this is an opportunity for him. And like, do I get a win in game 5? Like guaranteed in one of these situations?
Presumably you want the win most. So the question here is, which gives you the better chance at a win?
I think it's the second option. Despite the fact, like, look, you know that Jokic is going to give you a crazy game because he's always going to. You know that Murray, like in that situation, he gives you 30. You don't need that much more beyond that to get a win. However, I think I would rather have both Michael Porter and Russell Westbrook playing. Like, and that's hard. This is a really tough one. So good on you for making me sweat a little bit, because I do think that Murray scoring 30 plus really does help out the rest of the contingent. It allows Aaron Gordon to only have 12 instead of having to go for 18. It allows Christian Brown to have 10 instead of going for 16 or whatever it is. So I do think that there is an argument for just going with Murray, but Denver just needs the bodies, man. They need people who can play. And if you take away Porter and Westbrook, like, I assume Peyton Watson starts in that situation. How are you feeling about that, Matt? You think 40 minutes for Peyton Watson sounds pretty good?
Yes.
Okay.
So, all right. Part of my thought process, and people were really like livid that I even brought up the idea of Strawther. I understand how badly it can go. I do. For me, it is, do you want a violent, painful death, or do you want a slow bleed? That's like the question here.
Do you have to choose death? Like, is the hope to choose?
I believe playoffs are about, in some ways, guys surprising us, good and bad. Julius Randle was a guy that like no one thought was a playoff player, and he has been terrific for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He has been phenomenal. Right. Karl Anthony Towns is a guy that certain people have doubted and mocked and questioned consistently, and he has been huge in 2 of the Knicks wins. If you want to go down the line and be like, okay, but those are like star players, sure. But you've also got, like, there are guys stepping up all over. Guys have been huge in these other series. And for me, I do think that there's a possibility of it working, at least for a game. Probably not more than a game, but you don't need more than a game, maybe. And that's kind of my thought process. And it's like, I don't know there's not a good option here. The starters have lost their minutes. The starters have lost their minutes in the series. It is very hard for Denver to win when the starters lose their minutes.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So if you take out the ugly blowout game 3 and you just reduce that down to a clutch time loss, then I think that the plus minuses really shift around, of course. Like, I know that you can't obviously do that, but like, it's 2-2. It's even in this situation. So Pickett, he's one guy that like would play more in this situation if you don't have Russ, if you don't have Michael Porter. It's been pointed out to me that I am not critical enough of Pickett's plus minus. Sorry, guys. He's -8, -3, -23, and -6 in this series in 5, 7, 11, and 6 minutes. And then if you go over to Peyton Watson in kind of the same time frame, Peyton Watson is -8 +1, -29 +4. So maybe there is a world where in those games he can really elevate and be somebody that could be just a kind of a defense only guy. But like the way that Chris Dunn has been kind of played off the floor a little bit in some of these situations, I think Peyton Watson would get a lot of the same treatment.
Walter Worthy says people really die on that plus minus hill. Shaking my head. It is literally how much you win or lose by.
That's wild. And I'm not trying to like make extensive points here, but like Matt said, this is just what happened. This is not like there's no agenda behind it to me. Like this is me trying to figure out what went wrong, what can go better.
You can't evaluate a player based off of his plus minus and small sample. You can evaluate whether something worked or not for a team in small sample. There's lots of ways to improve that. They can just play better. Team can play better rotations, etc. I did want to tell you, because I looked this up today and I wanted to confirm it when I did this, not to like hammer the point home, but this has been my concern. In wins in this series, the Nuggets starters have a -5 net rating. I know that's surprising. I know. That's how I feel. Do you know what the best lineup is that has played any? There's only 2 lines that have played any more than 4 minutes.
Is it the 4 starters plus Russ minus MPJ?
Yep.
That's one of them. Like, and look,
yeah.
That's the one that they closed with in the first game, and it was really, really successful. The other one, let me go out on a limb and say that it's a Jokic lineup. I'm going to say it's a Christian Brown lineup. I'm going to say Peyton Watson is out there, Jamal Murray is out there, and Aaron Gordon is out there.
There's actually like those the starters and that Russ for MPJ. Those are the only 2 that have played more than 4 minutes in the series. So, or in wins.
So we're in uncharted territory here in terms of trying to come up with data and lineups that make the most sense. It really is just a matchups thing, and it's why the Bogdan Bogdanovic addition to the mix and him being pretty good was pretty interesting to me. It allowed them to kind of space the floor a little bit. He was playing hard, although it does kind of remind me of Landry Shamet with the Suns, like that kind of adjustment where they go with more of a spacing guy. He has a moment, he has a game. Murray eventually figured that out. The Nuggets eventually figured that out. I wonder if Murray can kind of go at that matchup in Game 5.
Yeah. Somebody asked if Russ is going to play. The answer is we don't know. Like that's the simple answer is we don't know.
I wish we had a good answer for people for the situation, but this injury is kind of ambiguous. He's not exactly going to be forthcoming with us in terms of like how hurt he is in a playoff environment.
And the Nuggets are not going to be either. So they don't have to file an injury report until 5 p.m. tomorrow, Mountain Time. So on Monday, you'll get an update on it and you can find out what's going on.
We'll ask David Adelman and we'll see what he gets, and we'll probably know what Michael Porter's penalty, if any, is gonna be in that situation.
Oh, let's talk about that on the other side. We'll get to that, plus look around the Western Conference playoff matchups and some more wrap-up thoughts. Coming up on Locked On Nuggets. Roll it back. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us. Check out Locked On Daily. Also, I've been putting up clips over at our Instagram account. So go follow us on Instagram at Locked On Nuggets. I've been putting up the reels of Ryan giving some good. I thought he's had really good takes. So I put some reels up of Ryan.
The only way I'm getting set up for that is if you're setting me up, Matt. So give yourself some credit.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's being set up for me to later post something that's going to make you look bad. And that's also true.
That too. Don't worry. We've got so many receipts. It's going to be crazy.
When they win this series, I'm going back to the post-game 3 thing and just being like, big red X on it. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I wanted to address this because here in my starred comments, I did want to see this. By the way, Devout Jokicigimist Lumi says, hit the button, you goofy goblins, which is terrific, by the way. Jay says, I still remember Matt having the Lakers winning the West, and Fabian has hit like 7 times. Matt, what happened with that Laker pick, huh? How could you believe in them? I'm sorry. I believed in the team that always gets something to go their way. There was never like a, oh man, I just think this Lakers team is awesome. I was just like, sure, they got Luka. They'll probably win the West. It was absolute fatalism, 100%. But
here's the thing: like Matt really wants OKC to be the team to advance. Like he wants the process to credit them, and I do think that like they are the team that absolutely deserves it based off of the way that they handled the regular season and how they've gone about this process. It's been a slow build for them, but they've been like last year they failed in certain situations and decided, okay, we're going to go get Isaiah Hartenstein and Josh Giddey, or trade Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. And boy, howdy, I wish Denver had Alex Caruso right now, Matt. That would be pretty sick.
Yeah, that is accurate. Jesus Pacheco says, I just joined, but seeing MPJB and Nia is so funny based on Matt saying it's not a Mike series. I don't know that it is. I still don't know that it is. If he's making shots, it is.
He's an innings eater in a lot of ways.
Mike, one of the things that was really great about Mike in game 4 is he was just firing. He wasn't like, it was contested stuff and he was not thinking, hesitating, dribbling. Like it was nothing. It was just like rise and fire. I'm shooting this. I have one arm and I'm firing. If he's able to play like that, that changes the equation. If you show me that Michael Porter Jr., then I'm absolutely bought in, because now the Clippers are going to have to overreact to that. And that's going to open up the spacing, which Ryan's talked about so much, is like, you need that ability. So for sure, like if Mike, every player that's quote unquote, it's not their series, can get back into the series by just playing better. That's entirely possible. But on the other hand, I will tell you, like, Harden has not yet, and this is honestly weird, Harden has not been as deliberate about seeking out the matchups as I'm used to. I'm used to him hunting down the matchups that he wants, and he hasn't gone at MPJ nearly as much as I thought that he might. So as long as that's happening, then yeah, Mike's I think a plus.
They've really attacked Murray, and I think what they've prioritized is tiring out Murray a lot more. Like, he's tried to get Christian Brown switched off of him as much as he can, but Christian's also done a good job of fighting through it. Do you want to talk about the possible suspension?
I was on with Lucas Hahn today, who does the Lob the Jam, the podcast.
Yeah.
And I've known Lucas forever, and he's great. I like Tomer Azerley over at Clutch. Like I like his work too. Like, Tomer's great, but like the Clippers media basically being narcs about this is like mind-boggling to me.
They really want to win, man. They want a series win.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, my thing is that there have been situations like this. Paul George came off the bench a couple of years ago, and they just didn't suspend him because they're like, nothing happened. That's fine. Like, they have the discretion not to suspend somebody if they didn't escalate the situation. I understand having the rule as a backup for, hey, we have a rule. You can't come off the bench. You came off the bench and you escalated, so we're suspending you because you came off the bench. Because otherwise you can argue everyone involved in the scrum is actively escalating, and you want to be like, don't make it worse. Don't cause the benches to clear.
Sure.
This stuff is so nonsensical. If you don't get in there and actually make the situation worse, if you don't risk them going into the crowd, if you walk out to mid-court, no, like, this is just ridiculous. Now, I want to ask you genuinely, because you are somebody who I find hops and jumps across the line of what you think should be the calls based off of what benefits your favorite team, the Denver Nuggets.
Oh.
I want to ask you genuinely, if the situation were reversed, what would you want?
I would be annoyed if. So I'm trying to put myself into the position of a Clippers fan, somebody that wants this desperately, somebody that wants success for their own team, regardless of, like, kind of bending the rules a little bit. You kind of do this with awards, especially when you're trying to talk about certain stats for your guy versus like ignoring certain things that don't meet your agenda. We've talked about this before. I think if I were in that situation, I would be annoyed that Michael Porter, hypothetically, if he's not suspended, I would be annoyed if he's not suspended, but understand, because he was just kind of standing in the background. Like, he didn't actually do anything. He was just kind of standing in the middle of the paint while the altercation was on the opposite side of the floor and then kind of in the mid-court area. So he reacted in that situation. And if it was, let's say it was Norman Powell in that situation, I'm annoyed at Norman Powell. Would I be hyper-focusing on Norman Powell in this situation when, like, there's other guys that are actually acting on the altercation? No, I don't think so. I don't think I would be. But, like, who knows? I've surprised myself in how petty I am before, Matt, so I might.
Yeah, I was like thinking this question to myself, if like you would have been taking video and then being like, oh, I can't believe it, he came off the bench. Like, I actually could kind of, especially Norman Powell, who you have a distaste for, you being like, Norman Powell came off the bench. Just saying.
Maybe it's because it's Michael Porter, because of the Clippers team doctor. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's because, like, he's got one arm right now and he's still, like, making clutch buckets. And they're just like, no, screw you, man. Like we already knew you didn't have a back. Like you can't beat us while not having a single arm as well. Like that's just unacceptable at this point.
Maybe. Let's talk about the other Western Conference series real quick. Warriors Rockets is just ugly and a nightmare.
Ugh.
And Houston's offense is putrid. I do like them to even the series in game 4, though. I am still, maybe I'm just blind. I am not impressed with the Warriors. Like, Steph's great, but this entire series is just, they're basically the same team, and one team has Steph. And that's a big difference, but that's like literally the difference here.
Yeah.
I don't
best player in the series.
And like Draymond hasn't been, I don't think Draymond's been great. He actually had some sequences I thought were really weird. The Rockets offensive process was so bad. Like there was this play that really drove me nuts. Brooks does a post up and he tries the Jokic whip to the dunker underneath. But like it's everyone knows, like 3 different Warriors are like, oh, you're passing to the dunker. All right, we'll just take that ball now. Versus like faking it and kicking it out, which he had a lane to for an open 3. The Warriors are going to win the series. I don't think that they're that much better than Houston. Houston's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, Houston just needs somebody to be better than they are offensively, and they don't have it.
They also just need seasoning. Like that's the clear difference that you see between a team like the Warriors and a team like the Rockets. The Rockets, this is their first opportunity in this situation, and they have shined in this situation at times. And Jalen Green had a great game 2, kind of disappeared in games 1 and 3. Şengün bothered a lot by Draymond in these games, and it's especially with the shots around the rim. He's never been a great finisher around the rim, but Draymond is making him look kind of soft. So I'm curious to see how they respond in a tough game 4 environment on the road. But yeah, it kind of feels like 3-1 to the Warriors coming back home to Houston probably feels like the right call.
Yeah. Elsewhere, like I guess Wolves look like they're about to get the Lakers out of here. It's annoying to me because the night after the trade, I did the reaction with you where all Lakers fans thought that I was distraught while I was laughing.
Yeah.
And then I went on buckets and I was like, this defense is gonna be terrible. Like, they'd be awful. Like, you're gonna be able to pick and choose who you want to attack, Austin Reeves or Luka Doncic. There's no way to cover for it.
Yeah.
And then they played really great defense for 4 weeks, and I was like, well, and like I did the film work and it really worked. They figured out ways to do it.
Fantastic.
And now we're in the playoffs, and it literally is just like, oh, we just attack Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves over and over and over again. And shout out to JJ Redick for taking a page out of David Allen's book and playing his starters the entire second half.
That was
not just can justice for Michael Malone is all I'll say on that one.
It's funny, like in that. So if I had a vote for Coach of the Year, I probably would have voted for JJ Redick. Like there's a lot of different guys that I think you could give credit to, but for him to do what he did in the regular season with that roster and kind of paper over some of the weaknesses was really impressive. In the end, like he knows that he can't trust Jackson Hayes. Like he has to because he's the only big player that they have on their roster. But like they're going to need to find a new big man. Obviously, they need to find a new roller to pair with Luka long term if they want to keep him. But there was a little bit of tension, I think, between Luka and LeBron, Matt. That's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, and I was listening to Anthony Irwin's post-game show. He does Lakers Lounge, and he's really annoyed with Luka. He's like, this has not been great. This is just like isolation. It's not working. And like he can't defend and all these things. And the Luka fans are mad. And it's very enjoyable until they get like Jaren Jackson Jr. this summer. But for now, it definitely looks like, look, I think to me, this looks like Wolves Thunder Western Conference Finals. That's what I think. Is that?
Yeah, and like because again, with this Nuggets Clippers situation, the way that it is, the Thunder are just licking their chops, waiting for the team to come out. I do think that again, if the Nuggets are able to come out of this series, the Clippers have been a very, very good test. The Thunder are obviously a different beast in terms of what they would be doing, but Shea is kind of reminiscent of some of the stuff that you'd get from Harden and Kawhi on offense. The best of both of those guys, of course. And then the Thunder defense is, of course, very handsy, kind of like what Chris Dunn and other guys have been able to do. The difference is it's all of them. It's every single person. So it's going to be a frustrating one. But yeah, Wolves Thunder, if that's what ends up happening, I kind of agree with you. I think that's where we're trending. There was one comment that I wanted to get to. Surya says, good to see you guys here this morning, 5:46 in England. Would love to see the comment shown. What do you think of Zeke? Do you think, I think there was another comment about will Adaman trust Zeke in a situation? I don't know. I thought it was very notable that they decided to go to Vlatko Čančar instead of going to Zeke Naji. And like, I think that there's just kind of perhaps a lack of trust there with Zeke Naji in this situation. And whether that's deserved or not, it's just an option that they haven't decided to go, that they've decided not to go to. And I just don't think that he's within the pecking order for them to try.
What would it take to get, like, it just had, I think injury is the only way that he sees the floor. I'll maintain, I think it was probably something you should have tried. I think it's late.
Yeah.
Something I want to note with all of the, why do the Nuggets not play any bench guys, all this, that, and the other, Malone just playing starters in the playoffs and wearing them out, etc. Adelman, right? But like, look around this again. I'm gonna keep screaming this from the rooftops like a crazy person. This is the CBA. No one has depth they trust. Nobody. The Lakers don't trust their depth. The Warriors do, because they're facing, I think, the Rockets. I think it's a big reason why.
Steve Kerr gets criticized for trusting his depth consistently, and he also doesn't trust Jonathan Kuminga, but has been forced into it.
Tibbs doesn't trust his depth ever, so that is is a Tibbs thing. The Bucks have this problem. Like, this is a consistent issue with how the league is structured right now. Until they start handing out contracts that regulate the way that the CBA is intended to, which means that guys are going to be underpaid, which I think sucks because it undervalues role players. But until that happens, you're going to continue to see this where it's like, I just got to play my best guys. I have to. I can't trust anybody. I have only got 5 guys I can trust, 6 guys, 7 guys. It's pretty tough. The Wolves have some depth. The Thunder have depth. The Celtics have depth. The Cavs have depth. That's weird. Like, the teams that we expect to be in the conference finals. I am definitely changing because I used to think that depth doesn't matter, and now I'm kind of.
Well, we're in a different era. Like, honestly, with the new CBA, with the way that it's designed, it has been. I think I saw this comment come across from somebody on social. It's been very much much less important now to have the best player in the series, as opposed to just having the fewest weaknesses in a series. And these teams play matchup basketball. They pick at everybody's weaknesses. Everybody's really good at everything now. The league is just in a really, really good place. And seeing this, I think, is Denver going forward is going to have to make some changes, I think. But who knows? Maybe it could just advance in the Western Conference Finals this year. We'll see.
We'll see. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. We'll see you guys again next time on Locked On Nuggets.